In this video, we'll look at some important vocabulary from an IELTS reading passage. These are words that can help you find answers faster, and many of them are also useful for writing. We'll start with some useful synonyms. Rationed means something is limited or controlled in amount. We could also say there is a shortage of something. The opposite is abundant, which means there is a lot of it available. When something is spoiled, we can also say it is damaged. Another useful word is deterioration, which means something becomes worse in quality. This is very useful in writing. For example, we can say there is environmental deterioration due to pollution. Method and technique mean the same thing. Innovation, invention, and new development are also very similar. So instead of saying something was invented, we can also say it was developed. When a company invests money in promotion, it means it is spending money on advertising, or we can say it has a large advertising budget. Sometimes, instead of saying something became popular, we can say something else gave a boost, which means it helped it grow. Since this passage is about food, here are a few food related words that we find in the passage. Palatable means good enough to eat. Flavor and taste mean the same thing. Texture is how food feels in the mouth when we eat it. Now let's look at some important verbs used in the passage. Adapted means changed or modified for a new purpose. For example, a machine may be made for one use but later adapted for another use. We also see this word with animals. Animals adapt to their environment in order to survive. Shipped and sent mean goods are moved from one place to another. Shipment refers to goods being transported. Exported is slightly different. It means goods are sent to another country. Launch means to introduce or start something important, like a product or a company. Now, some simple context words. These are not difficult, but in this passage, they help us find answers. Sometimes homes and families can be used in a similar way. For example, many homes have a lot of furniture can also be written as many families have a lot of furniture. Another word we can use is households. The passage also mentions beef and mutton. These are simply types of meat. Here they help us locate the correct answer. Now let's look at years, which are very important for locating answers in the passage. A century is 100 years, like the 1800s. So 1800s means 1800 to 1899. Early, mid, and late divide this time into parts. Early means the beginning, mid means the middle, and late means the end. Similarly, a decade is 10 years, so 1940s means 1940 to 1949. This is important because the question may mention a time period, but the answer can be a specific year inside that period. For example, if the question says 1940s, the answer could be from 1943 because it falls within that range. When it says 1917 onwards, it means 1917 and the years after that. So it is not limited to just 1 year. One more important point. When we say 19th century, it actually refers to the 1800s. Similarly, 20th century is 1900 to 1999, and right now we are in the 21st century. Now let's look at some important concepts from the passage. Insulation means preventing heat from entering or escaping. For example, electric wires, jackets, and coolers use insulation. In this passage, insulation helps keep food cold during transport. Visible means something can be seen. Transparent means we can see through it. A good example is cellophane, which is a thin, clear plastic used for packaging. And here are a few specific objects mentioned in the passage. Tin is a metal used to make food cans. So, canned food is food stored in these metal containers. Crystals are small solid pieces that form when something freezes. In this passage, ice crystals form inside food and affect its quality. Munitions means weapons and military equipment used in war. The passage also mentions Inuit people. The word is capitalized, so we know it is the name of a group of people. Even if you don't know exactly who they are, that is fine. But it refers to people living in very cold Arctic regions. That's it for the key vocabulary from this passage. If you want to see how these words are used to actually find answers, you can check out the full reading solution. The link is in the description. See you in the next one.